am your teacher, Mr. Pacitti, and this is my classroom here in San Francisco. So put away your mobile phones, put away your Boris Johnsons in prison. It's time to concentrate, it's time to study. This is SmackDown Live, and this is Graded. We kick things off with a quick recap of the whole Erick Rowan trying to murder Roman Reigns stuff, and props to the WWE production people for making this make perfect sense in post-production. Good job, guys. And then we go straight to the ring, and out comes Erick Rowan. Rowan says that what we just saw on the Tron there was a work of art. All he does is annihilate. He has created a brand of violence that commands respect and just blabs on about how good he is at effing S up, but is then interrupted by Daniel Bryan to huge cheers. Bryan says, you keep going on about how you feel disrespected. If you feel disrespected, then fight me right now. And there's a referee and a bell is rung. We've got ourselves a match. And a bloody good match as well here. Daniel Bryan being thrown around all over the place by Erick Rowan, making him look like an absolute beast. A role which Daniel Bryan, as we all know, is just so good at. Just every time that Daniel Bryan starts making a comeback, Erick Rowan cuts him off at the pass. We see that powerbomb spot on the outside to the ring post. Daniel Bryan just about clawing his way back into the ring at 9. Shades of real sort of old school babyface underdog Bryan. Lovely to see. But Bryan, the technical mastermind, finally starts to ground Rowan, working the leg, but then Erick Rowan just catches him in a bear hug for ages and then nails a powerbomb for a great near fall. We come back from the break and Daniel Bryan is starting to take control. He's nailing the yes kicks. The crowd are going absolutely bozo at this, and then locks in the yes lock, but Erick Rowan manages to get to the ropes. Luke Harper then tries to interfere but gets taken out by Daniel Bryan. However, immediately just stands back up, gets straight back to his feet, looking like an absolute beast as well. Daniel Bryan then getting back in the ring but gets caught with the iron claw over the top rope to the canvas, but Daniel Bryan's foot gets caught in the rope, and this was really nasty looking. It gets like tangled up in the rope. The ref has to get him free, and Erick Rowan's doing a bit of a beat down on him, but obviously it's a bit of a worrying situation. Fortunately, he was totally fine, and I would actually argue that this added something to the match, because then Erick Rowan picks him up again, another iron claw, 1, 2, 3, your winner is Erick Rowan. After the match, the heels then start clearing the announce table. It looks like Daniel Bryan's going to be slammed through there, but Roman Reigns' music hits. He runs down. He gets beaten down for a little bit, but Daniel Bryan manages to get back up, and the good guys fight off the bad guys. There's a bit of a stare down, and then a quick promo setting up the match that I think we all saw coming. It's Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, the good guys, versus Luke Harper and Erick Rowan, the bad guys, at Hell in a Cell. I really love this. It was a great start to the show. It gets an A-. Props to Daniel Bryan for playing his role to perfection. He made Erick Rowan look like a total monster. I will say that this now feels more like a story of betrayal. The focal point, for me at least, is Daniel Bryan's betrayal and his relationship with Erick Rowan, and then also Luke Harper is there, rather than the story of a guy trying to murder Roman Reigns twice. It all feels like this is about Daniel Bryan and Erick Rowan. Luke Harper, a welcome addition, but Roman Reigns here, to me at least, sort of feels like a third wheel, I guess a fourth wheel. I feel sorry for Roman because the story should have all been about him. However, Daniel Bryan's performances, his promo work, has made this, to me, this is a story revolving around Daniel Bryan and Erick Rowan. Next up, it's one of those super serious, pre-recorded, backstage Michael Cole promos. Oh boy. So Michael introduces Kofi Kingston, and Kofi then cuts him off and goes, no, that's not how we do it. I'm your WWE. Does all the hip swinging and stuff. And immediately I'm just thinking, hey, we're off to a bad start here. It felt like throughout this interview, Kofi was underplaying the seriousness and the dangerousness of Brock Lesnar. Let's not forget about Beast in the East, mate. You got battered. Kofi says that he made a promise that he would be a fighting champion, and this is just another chapter of that fighting. He's beaten Dolph Ziggler, he's beaten Samoa Joe, he's beaten Randy Orton, he's beaten all these people. Right now he's feeling like he's at the top of his game. He's feeling great. He then really heavily shills the Fox deal, which I get is a necessity, but it didn't feel organic at all in this context. And then says once again that he feels like he is at the top of his game. He said that 3 times in his promo, and he will remain the WWE champion. This didn't work for me at all. Not what I was expecting at all from this. It gets a C-. Kofi Kingston just continuously underplaying the seriousness of Brock Lesnar when Brock Lesnar is meant to be the final boss of the WWE. It just felt really, really odd. And I feel like the scripting here, this wasn't Kofi's fault, but the scripting made him look like a bit of a fool. And then if and maybe when he loses next week and drops the title to Brock, he'll look even more of a fool. Next up, Chad Gable comes to the ring. He talks about how Baron Corbin needed to cheat to beat him on this week's episode of Raw. He is quickly interrupted by Mike Kanellis, who makes some short jokes of his own and says that he's here to prove that size does matter. I don't know if this was a height joke because he's only like 3 inches taller than Chad Gable, or if it was a cock size joke because he's definitely 3 inches shorter than Chad Gable, but it doesn't matter, we got ourselves a match. Well, we've sort of got a match. Chad Gable starts suplexing him all over the place and then locks in the ankle lock, and Mike taps after like 20 seconds. Chad Gable is getting squash matches now. After the match, Elias appears on the Tron. He makes some more short jokes. They're really hammering this home hard, and then plays a little ditty about how tall or how short Chad Gable is, which was quite funny at points, and a huge shout out for the Randy Newman reference. Short people got no reason to live. This gets a C+, I guess. It didn't really do much for the Mike Maria storyline, and I can't be too excited about a Chad Gable-Elias feud, but in my heart of hearts, I'm hoping that all of this is happening to build Chad Gable up. He does feel like a star right now. To build him up for a lovely little mid-card title reign. Yes, please. Next up, it's tag team action. The Queen, Charlotte Flair, and the new 24/7 champion Carmella taking on the Boss and I can't even say it, taking on Sasha and Bayley. The match was good, even if it did feel a little bit rushed. Carmella getting beaten down at the start and then makes the hot tag to Charlotte. Charlotte comes in, starts laying in the chops. Woo! Charlotte manages to lock in a figure 8 on Bayley, but Sasha breaks that up, and then Carmella's tagged in. She ends up getting locked in the Banks statement and is forced to tap out. Your winners, Sasha Banks and Bayley. But it's not all over yet. Just as Sasha's music is playing, the entire women's locker room run down to the ring. They are desperate to get their hands on the 24/7 title, and then, bless him, R-Truth hoists up Carmella in a fireman's carry and then gets her over the crowd barrier, through the crowd. He saved her. And that title means everything to R-Truth. What a lovely, wonderful, compassionate man. And then we go back to the ring, and the heels start beating down Charlotte Flair. Outruns Becky Lynch to make the save, and she ends up locking in the disarmer on Sasha Banks, but Bayley pulls Sasha out of there. Bit of a stare down, that's your lot. The match was going to get a B-, but I'm going to up that to a B because I thought the post-match beatdown, as well as Becky coming in to make the save, was quite effective. I will say that Carmella's inclusion in this 4 horsewomen picture was a bit of an odd one. It didn't really make much sense, and it does appear now that plans have changed and that for the next few weeks she'll be caught up in all of the 24/7 silliness. Next up, it's Ali versus Shinsuke Nakamura in non-title action, and I think this was probably match of the night for me. 2 guys with just great chemistry. Almost immediately, there is a pretty scary looking dive to the outside by Ali. It looked like he landed right on his head. Fortunately, I watched it back a few times, that he managed to turn right at the last minute and take the brunt of the impact on his shoulder. So fortunately, he was fine. So Shinsuke Nakamura just throws him face first into the ring post. Back from the break, and Ali is in control. He nails that rolling X Factor, which I absolutely love. There's a bit more back and forth. Shinsuke Nakamura then goes for a Kinshasa. Ali manages to duck and then nails a super kick for a great near fall. Ali then looks to finish things. He goes up top for the 054, but Sami Zayn, the scoundrel, pulls Nakamura out of the ring. So Ali just gets down and then nails a great dive, an amazing dive in fact, to Shinsuke Nakamura on the outside, and then starts chasing Sami Zayn. He's chasing Sami. Sami runs into the ring, and through the ring, as he's giving chase, unfortunately, Ali gets nailed with a Kinshasa, and Shinsuke Nakamura picks up the win. These two are so fun to watch together. Please give us more of these two. So I toyed between giving this either a B+ or an A-, because the match was great. but I've upped it to the A- because I really love the booking. The reason I love the booking is because I feel like we've been conditioned to expect a certain thing from WWE. We see it all the time, the trope of the non-champion defeating the champion in non-title action, so getting themselves a title shot. So, this subverted our expectations. I would have loved to see Ali pick up the win here, but I didn't get that. And that's the way it should be, because Shinsuke Nakamura, he's the heel, he's got this great new manager, the manager assisted with the victory, and we were deprived of what we wanted to see, which makes me want to see Ali win even more. That is, of course, if Ali actually gets a shot at the title. I think the next person to hold that strap is going to be Chad Gable. I'm locking in my prediction early. Anyway, next up, it's the New Day's Big E and Xavier Woods taking on the B team in a match that nobody asked for. I thought this might be setting up Brock Lesnar to come out and murder Big E and Xavier, but nope. Just a completely unnecessary match. So it wasn't quite a squash. The B team got in a bit of offense at the beginning of the match, end up getting put away with the midnight hour after about 2 minutes. But this was just so pointless. There was no reason for this match to happen. So have my D. That might sound a little bit harsh, but it just achieved nothing. The New Day are so far beyond needing convincing wins over the likes of the B team. There were numerous segments last night that could have done with an extra couple of minutes, and this match took away those couple of minutes from those segments. Next up, the Kabuki Warriors. Remember them? Taking on Fire and Desire, or as I call them, Mandy and Sonya. Mandy is continuing to do her I'm so beautiful thing, which is fine. She's on the cover of Maxim, as was mentioned numerous times during this match. In fact, at one point, she had a copy of the magazine and she's showing it to Kairi going, "You'll never look like this!" And then Kairi tries to boot it out of her hands, but misses, and so I had to do it again, and it was all just a little bit awkward. Back in the ring, and it all gets a bit chaotic, but not in a good way. Mandy Rose ends up getting kneed in the face and then eats a code breaker, and then Kairi goes up top, insane elbow, the Kabuki Warriors win the match. Have a C-. I feel a bit mean giving this a C- because I really like the result. It's good to see the Kabuki Warriors pick up the win, and hopefully this means that they'll be back on TV more regularly, and even that this is the start of their ascent to Tag Team Gold, although I don't think it will be. However, the match was it wasn't that great, and I would even go as far to say it was pretty sloppy at times. Main event time, and it's a promo, but better yet, it's a Shane McMahon promo. Shane comes to the ring, invites out Kevin Owens. Kevin's music starts playing, but he doesn't walk down the ramp. No, he does not. He comes through the crowd like Edge, or The Shield, or Enzo and Cass. Shane has a proposition for Owens. In fact, he lays out 2 options on the table. Option 1 is that the lawsuit goes ahead, but Shane will use his vast resources to keep Kevin Owens in the courts for years and years to come with appeal after appeal after appeal. Meanwhile, Kevin Owens won't be earning a paycheck. He won't be able to feed his family. Option 2 is that Kevin Owens will cancel the lawsuit, which means that Shane McMahon will rehire him into the WWE, and he'll even give him that $100,000 he dues back. What a nice guy. Shane extends his hand. It looks like Kevin Owens is about to shake it, but Kevin says, "Shane, you're an idiot. This was never about money. This was about getting under your skin and eventually getting you fired." And then Kevin Owens makes a proposition of his own. One final match. Career versus career in a ladder match. And Shane McMahon accepts, but you can't really hear him because they'd already cut his mic, but he definitely accepted. Roll Kevin Owens music. We've got a match. There you go, Hell in a Cell. This was all good with me. It gets a B-. I was quite surprised to see a ladder match stipulation added. I think we all expected Hell in a Cell and things to come full circle all the way back to 2017. Can you believe it? When Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon had their Hell in a Cell match, which was really good. However, I'm happy with the ladder match. We all know that Kevin Owens likes bumping like an absolute nutter in ladder matches. Expect to see him fall on a ladder and a ladder and a ladder like multiple times, even if it should be Shane McMahon being the one taking the beating in this one. And hopefully this is the conclusion, the end of Shane McMahon on WWE TV. We've been joking about it for an awful long time, but it's a joke that wore thin a long time ago. He's not fun to watch anymore. This should be the end of it. Please But please, it wouldn't even surprise me if it's not. It wouldn't even. That's not the end of the show. We go backstage. Becky Lynch is being interviewed, but the interview doesn't last long. She's attacked from behind by Sasha Banks, and then Sasha throws her into some flight cases, and then grabs a bit of like meshing, what's that called, fencing stuff, and rams it into Becky Lynch. The closing shot of this week's SmackDown is Becky on the floor in agony. This was fine and everything. It served its purpose, but it wasn't as impactful as I think WWE expected it to be. My point is that Sasha should have set Becky on fire or something. Do I even grade this? Yeah, of course. It gets a C+. So the overall grade for this week's SmackDown is a B-. There was nothing truly awful last night. Almost everything, however, just felt distinctly average. I guess the way that I would describe it is that a lot of the big stuff just wasn't as good as it could have been. The Kofi Kingston interview could have been better. The Shane McMahon Kevin Owens segment could have been better. The attack at the end of the night could have been better. Everything just felt a little bit underwhelming. Speaking of which, what is Cardboard's favourite sport? Boxing. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.